Hi, my name is Jill Pischke, and my content area is high school agriculture education. For the purpose of this assignment, I am sharing a worksheet exercise and discussing strategies that I use as I go about reading material. Prior to this lesson, I would review what pollination is and make sure students have a basic knowledge of bumblebee biology and the mutualistic relationship between bees and flowers. So before I begin reading any material, I start by asking myself just basic questions of what am I supposed to learn? What is important about this information and what is the purpose? And this starts to drive my focus of the material as I start to look for the answers within it. So I often will just do a quick scan through the material looking for things in bold because I tend to think that can focus the material towards what is intended to be the important substance of the content. So, for instance, here, part one, value of pollinators, and then below that we have the problem pollinators in peril. This statement right here generates new questions for me. What could possibly be peril to bees and to pollination, and how does this affect me? And so as I begin reading, I'm going to be looking for the answers to those types of questions. So to begin, insects are responsible for the pollination of approximately 80% of all flowering plants, including both wild plants and agricultural crops. With adequate pollination, plants produce fruits, nuts, and berries, which are consumed by humans and other animals. Proper pollination also produces seed, allowing for plant reproduction in the wild and continual crop propagation. So right off the bat, in the very first paragraph, I am starting to make connections to the content, and I'm also starting to find purpose. Not only purpose for bees and pollination and that direct relation to the reproduction of plants, but also the purpose of what it means to me and having that relevance of we need plants to survive. We consume plants. So those kinds of connections and those kinds of purposes really bring meaning to the content, and it just continues to engage my active learning and start associating this information to real life. Continuing on, according to Cornell University study, honeybees and other insect pollinators in the US contribute an estimated $29 billion annually in farm income. And as you can see, the rest of this paragraph presents a lot of important facts. One thing that I do when I come across important facts in reading material is I like to go back and reread that information to make sure that I fully understood those facts and that I understand the scope of those facts in relation to the information. I also like to either highlight or underline those important facts that are presented so that I can refer back to them as I continue reading through the rest of the material. So continuing on, bumblebees exhibit a unique behavior known as buzz pollination, in which the bee hangs upside down on a flower and vibrates her wing muscles, causing the release of large amounts of pollen. So at this point, I have engaged my visualization. I am starting to see what it would look like for a bee to perform this process of pollination. And it also, I guess, generates my curiosity and keeps me engaged in the material as well. So I hope these strategies will help you continue on with your reading throughout the rest of this material.